minutes. We have 3 items on the agenda tonight. We have 2 appeals for area variances, and we have an application that we have to process. I want to do them in the order that we've received them. The first one will be for Jeff Petrowski, who needs an area variance for a couple of property modifications on Procrastination Place, which is down at the end of Driftwood Drive. If anybody wants to look, yeah, you can take a look at the package.
Oh, that's another copy.
I have a copy of it here.
Let's see what we got here.
So what you so basically what we're talking about is the guy who owns the land just wants to expand the definitions of those particular lots, and then proposes to put a couple of accessory structures on them. Those are all permitted under the current ordinance. So I'll let the board members look. So I'm Carl DeFranco. I am the chairman.
It just makes the lots less strict.
Okay. Any questions on that?
I don't see it.
If there's not, I want to open this up to a public hearing. If any of the public has any comments on this particular topic, which is the addressing a request for an area variance, I will hear anyone who wishes to speak. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on this topic? Don?
Sure. So I guess I can say that my biggest concern is that we don't have access to those plans, and so we have no idea what you're talking about. We're mushrooms back here in this town board meeting, watching you guys decide whatever you're deciding, asking us for input. We have nothing there, nothing, period,
These are online.
to go by.
I put these on the town
When
website.
did you put them on?
2 weeks ago.
Perfect.
They've been on.
Thank you. I withdraw my
Yeah.
concern.
Okay, anybody else have anything to add? Okay, if we have no more public comments, I will close the public hearing. And I will entertain a motion to approve the area variances as requested.
I'll make that a motion.
Do I have a second? Mickey, second?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item number 1 on the pop-up agenda. Issues from the public for item 1. Here the ZBA approves the request, without the public having previous access to the records for the public hearing to review, at least 24 hours in advance of the hearing they are deliberated in. Those public records consisting of the documents, plans, drawings, or other supporting documentation on the proposal under deliberation in this zoning board meeting. That action by the Town of Western was a required action effective October 19, 2021, Chapter 481 of the Laws of 2021. Amended subsection 103E of the law. That law requiring copies of records be made available to the public at least 24 hours before a public meeting in New York State. The law as well stating, the law addresses 2 types of records. First, those that are required to be made available pursuant to FOIL. And second, proposed resolutions, law, rules, regulations, policies, or amendments thereto. When either is scheduled to be discussed during an open meeting, the law requires that they be made available to the public at least 24 hours in advance of those actions by the municipality or agency. Here in this act of negation of information to the public, the town withheld such records and information from the public. The zoning board then voting on that proposed application, after the public hearing, where those records were not made available to the public for cause. The people of the town of Western have been hoodwinked yet again by the town, its town board, and the town board's ancillary or appointed boards. We immediately start our research of the town's towpath website to validate the availability of those records that Chairman DeFranco, the sitting board chairman, stated clearly and professionally that he uploaded to the website 2 weeks ago for the public's access. This done, even as the board votes on the project without the public being apprised of the technical applications of the project. As a sidebar, after diligently searching for the next 15 minutes on the town's towpath website, those records as told to the public as being placed on that website were not found located on the town's towpath website. The vote of the board on the application continues without required public input.
Okay, the second element we have tonight, we have an application for an area variance from Jacob Yoder. He wants to build a barn on Wilson Road, which is, if anybody knows that area, if they're, where the small antenna tower is, it's literally right next door to that. There is an existing barn right now. I guess you're using it as looks like a wood processing, basically a sawmill.
Yep.
And there is a home on it as well. I looked today I have a couple of copies here if you want to kind of pass them around. Okay, the board members have any other questions?
No.
Okay, if not, I'm going to open a public hearing for comment on this particular application. Everybody aware of what's going on? Jacob is asking to modify the required setback from 100 feet from the center line of the road to his barn to 75 feet. One of the things we showed is that most of the existing buildings on that road are, the one that's closest to the road is 80 feet, and most of the rest of them are less than 75 feet. It's a pretty open area. So any member of the public have questions or comments? Don?
So were the neighbors informed of this, or are there no?
There are no neighbors.
No neighbors?
There's nothing across the street. The closest thing is the farm. Is the farm down the road. That's currently being rebuilt. I'm not even sure there's anybody occupying it right now.
That's awesome.
The only other neighbor is that little building with the radio tower.
Mhm.
And the closest one down the road is toward the farm.
They argue with
Great.
everybody.
Yeah, and we did announce the public hearing that was published.
Yes, good, yeah, okay, I'm fine with that. And
Yep.
the other thing though is we didn't find those documents that you said were online.
They should be on there because I was sworn that I put them all on there.
Yeah, and you didn't, so they're not there,
Okay,
so.
well, I'll make sure that they're on there, and I do not have Yoder's on there yet, but they will go on as soon as possible. Because I just got them from Scott about the same time as he asked to schedule us for the.
But you do understand the public's concern with
I
respect to
do.
having a public hearing and not have the documents available to us to review.
Understood.
Thank you.
Okay.
But at that point, I would just take the opportunity, because we did have the paperwork up here, to
Yeah.
come up and take a
So
look.
I can't go beyond that point.
I'll bring it to you.
We would
bring it to you.
We'd be happy to bring it to you so you can look at it.
Sure, absolutely.
Here is a meeting from a 2023 zoning board in the town of Western. In this meeting, as in the current 2025 meeting on the Yoder or Procrastination Road projects, the board follows a consistent arbitrary process of refusing to provide the public with public records previous to a public hearing. The public in this 2023 meeting will be asked for their input in that zoning board deliberation during a public hearing within that meeting as well. This is a defined set of consistent failures of the boards in Western to provide the public access to public records, to allow the public to make informed statements on the issues which may come before the various boards in public hearings in the town.
ZBA and anything with respect to the present business, we would open up for comments from any of the community members.
Would that plan be available to review?
I can't answer
I don't-
that.
I-
I don't think so.
I don't think that would be appropriate.
Yeah, it is,
Why don't you get back to me?
well, yeah, that
And
would
then
be
bring it
most
in
appropriate.
next time you meet if it's something that we can review.
This zoning board from 2023 never got back to us on the availability of that record or plan drawing. They have never gotten back to anyone. At every planning and zoning and town board meeting in Western, all documents are off limits to the public, except what the board arbitrarily determines or wants to place online, not what is required by New York State to be placed online. In Western, records of the town are considered by the town to be proprietary information and records not to be made available to the public until after a vote by any board of the town of Western, if ever. This consistent action by the town of Western Town Board and its ancillary or appointed boards goes against the very nature of the public's right by law in New York State for the ability to offer informed public comment in a public hearing. In Western, access to records is not allowed, any more than public comment in public meeting is allowed here. In Western, the people have been removed from the process, because that's the level of ignorance this town board and its ancillary boards proselytize every day of every month of every year. It's how it's been done, and if you question that process, you will be retaliated against by the very folks that take an oath of office to serve the public they are to represent.
Well, it's the board's decision to review this. Whether it's made available to the public prior to or after the fact via a FOIL request is the question at hand. So the reviewers will simply be the board. However, in that public meeting in which there will be a decision the information would be here and members of the community could comment,
Sure.
especially if they believe it affects them.
Here in this clip from 2023, the zoning board in Western states, "The record, a drawing of the project under review, is not available for the public's review. It is only available for the zoning board for their use on making a decision. However, there may be other information available at our meetings. Data, excluding of course, the drawing you are requesting. Information such as our words and our thoughts. Words or thoughts that you may overhear and be available to use for your discussion with us, the board, at a public hearing. Then if via osmosis, or some other form of skillful assertion of your limited rights here in Western, you do gain some non-town board supplied information that concerns you, along with the records we can see, and which you, the public, cannot, then by chance or by luck, speak up when the public hearing is open for your 3 minutes." So the issue with records that are by New York state law, to be placed online 24 hours in advance of any meeting in which they are deliberated, is this. For municipalities that do not adhere to the New York state law that provides for the release of that information at a minimum of 24 hours in advance, the actual documents aren't made available to the public. Just as they were not made available to the public in this 2025 meeting. Just as they were not made available to the public when requested in the 2023 meeting as well. If by this 2025 board's assessment, the records were made available at the public hearing as the board stated, we could look at those plans after the vote, then why weren't they made available 24 hours in advance? If the public were able to review those records at that public hearing, would that make a difference? New York State doesn't think so. The Open Meetings Law and the Committee on Open Government believe that even if the zoning board shows those documents to the public, at the public hearing, how much could the public absorb from those records in basically 3 minutes of review time? And if that time is inclusive of public comment time at a public hearing, during public comment of 3 minutes, then what does that say about making the record available during the meeting for the public's review? The truth that these boards do not want to share is this. The public would absorb little to nothing in that 3 minutes, let alone being able to discuss issues or concerns the public may have with that record's meaning, proposal, details, or how it might affect them or others in the community. Here, this zoning board meeting from 2023 is blowing as much smoke up the public's skirts as the ZBA chair did at the beginning of the zoning board meeting we are currently discussing in 2025. What is it the town is providing to the public if it's not the records of the public? Control. The final result of the locking out of the public from the records of the people like this in Western and other towns is the control of information and the lack of transparency that supports that ability to maintain control. The town board and its ancillary appointed boards are basically saying in both of these meetings from 2023 and 2025, which are fully 2+ years apart, now that the public hearing is over and a vote has been made, let us placate the public and send them home. Send them home to go to bed without information or data because we control that, and with that we control the taxpayer. Tomorrow will be a different day, a brighter day, a busier day for the taxpayer. Let us make promises, and make them believe we care. But mind you taxpayer, the vote has already been taken on this issue. Your comments, concerns or thoughts are no longer necessary. Just so you know. But be diligent, we will post those records for you very very soon, regardless as to the inconsequence of your need for those records. But keep checking the website. Take care now, bye-bye.
Okay, are there any other comments the public wants to offer? Okay, if not, I will close the public hearing. Do I have a motion to approve the request for an area variance?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we have a third item on the agenda for tonight. We have received a request for a special use permit from Marathon Engineering, who is representing Sole Source Power to construct a solar farm up on Mullen Hill Road. Because of the requirements of the zoning ordinance, if anybody wants to see a copy of there's a building permit application and there's a cover letter if you want to take a copy of that. I'll make sure that, and those I've just received today, so no, they are not online. But the way the zoning ordinance is worded, once the application is received, the first thing that happens is the planning board will take the application and they will do the environmental quality review. So I simply want to acknowledge that we have received the special permit application as part of our activity, and I will entertain a motion to table any further ZBA activity until we receive the results of the environmental quality review from the planning board. Do I have such a motion? Mickey, okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor of tabling action?
Aye.
All in favor.
They're going, what, 5 megawatts?
2 5-megawatt installations, yeah.
Okay.
I just received the,
Under the 25, huh?
well, they're actually considered 2 separate installations. That's how they qualify for the community grid
Okay.
capability that they put on the thing, so.
Yep.
So they have to stand on that side, or else they would never,
Yeah, if they go beyond that, they don't necessarily meet the qualifications that
because of where
they have to have for that.
substation is.
Okay.
So as far as the ZBA is concerned,
Yeah.
we are standing back until the planning board does their thing.
Yep.
So, does anybody have any new business for us? Okay, if there is no further business, I will entertain a motion to adjourn so we can get out of this hot building.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, thank you.
So we were quite disappointed tonight to basically be placated by the chairman of this board by telling us those documents were online. We took 15 minutes today, the public hearing, and we researched the website. We found none of those documents that the chairman of the zoning board told us he put online 2 weeks ago. Now, we're pretty much on that website every day. We are perusing that website. We're looking for what's changing. We're finding concerns or issues that we need to be concerned about public, for the public. And we didn't find those documents clearly trying to blow the smoke up public's skirt here in Western as of late. This is clearly the kind of arbitrary process that these folks need to support with arbitrary rulings, arbitrary words, and arbitrary actions, such as Carl DeFranco, the chairman of this board, lying to the people in your face that those documents are online, and absolutely those documents are not on the website. I guess I can say that my biggest concern is that we don't have access to those plans, and so we have no idea what you're talking about. We're mushrooms back here in this town board meeting, watching you guys decide whatever you're deciding, asking us for input. We have nothing there, nothing, period,
These are online.
to go by.
I put these on the town
When did you put them
website
on?
2 weeks ago.
Perfect.
They've been on.
Thank you, I withdraw my
Yeah.
concern.
Okay, anybody else have anything to add?
The other thing though is we didn't find those documents that you said were online.
They should be on there, because I was sworn that I put them all on there.
Yeah, you didn't, so they're not there.
Okay,
so-
well, I'll make sure that they're on there, and I do not have the owners on there yet, but they will go on as soon as possible.
Now, what we've seen people do in the past in other towns and in Western as well, is that they'll run home very quickly as soon as Larry's...
call me a liar, Don? Okay. Want to play that kind of game? We'll play that kind of game.
Try to update that website, put that kind of information on there for the people so that he could say that that information was online all the time. And of course it wasn't. We've researched that website. We're not finding it. Now what they'll do is they'll put it on a page on that website where you can't find it, you can't see it. It's going to be well hidden. And generally, if this town was very in the open, non-arbitrary, and transparent, these folks would place that information directly on the zoning ordinance or the zoning page for the zoning board and nowhere else. And of course, we've taken pictures with timestamps. We know that information is not on that website and it is not on that zoning or the planning page. So we have this town chairman and we have this zoning board here in a very difficult situation, not being truthful to the public based on what they just said was on the website, and it's not on the website. So this is not a very good thing for these folks to be portraying to the public at a meeting, public hearing, in fact. This is a state-required meeting, a state-required hearing, and this is something that cannot go on in the town of Western. So we're going to have to go because they're going to want to shut this meeting down very quickly, okay? So keep an eye, just FYI, keep an eye on that website because those pages are going to show up. Those plans that weren't on the website are going to show up on that website somewhere very quick. We're going to go home and do our own little work to try to get that resolved. If we can beat them to the punch, we'll take a picture of every single page on that website to verify that that isn't on there because it's not on the zoning ordinance, it's not on the planning page, it's not on the zoning page. So thanks so much for joining us tonight. We're gonna take off. We're gonna get some additional work done here, and we're gonna see you guys at the next meeting. I believe we have something coming up on or about the 5th town board meeting. So we'll see you then. Thanks so much.